Chapter 4, The Frolic. You pace, trying not to panic, as Oleander savagely rifles through your wardrobe. Kieran lounges against the wall, apparently unbothered. We've spent all the time preparing for a proper tea party, and now at the last second, opulence turns into a fey frolic? Why? You assume opulence requires any reason at all, other than her own amusement. Unlikely to make it more socially acceptable for her to proposition Kieran. What? A frolic is not unlike a tea party, but once the usual refreshments are served, they will be followed by any foods that will, enhance the senses. You mean like sight and sound? Kieran smirks, catching your hand as you pass to press a tingling kiss to the inside of your wrist. No, sweet dove, this is magic that heightens physical sensations and stokes passion, to the point that even Fae lose what few inhibitions they may have. You're kidding. Frolics tend to be wild affairs, but we still turn this to our advantage. Not with this wardrobe, you won't. Ella's entire closet is hopeless. Nothing there is suitable for the frolic, unless you intend to keep Ella confined, however, to your bedroom. Perhaps the first good idea you've had all day. She needs an appropriate ensemble, for every type of a social function, even those you've had a habit of shunning. It seems I'll have to take care of it myself. You're gonna shop for me? Oleander snaps her fingers, the clothing on your body alight with green and silver sparks that swirl and shift, reforming into a completely new garment. Oh, I thought this was going to be more wilder than it should have been. This is what a royal consort wears to a frolic, darling. I approve. Well chosen, Oleander. Beside you, Kieran waves his hands over his noble clothing, changing them to match her own. Okay, see, that's not matching me at all. We make a rather handsome pair. You turn to the mirror, flushing hot at your reflections, picturing the two of you appearing together like this in public. You think so? It would certainly send a message of strength, of the moon court, and of your attachment to each other. Really? Frolic frock. Pixelberry's loophole to make us buy something isn't even here this time. It's just like, pay, bitch. Do you really like it? It's quite different from what I've normally worn. But if the occasion calls for it, Kieran only rakes his eyes over you with intense and transparent admiration, apparently losing or a loss of words. I don't think we've rendered the Dread Knight Prince speechless. Do you think I look fey? Yes, but more importantly, you look like yourself. You gaze at your matching reflections, struck by how provocative and powerful you look side by side. We do look lovely together, don't we? We look unstoppable. Oleander, will you be joining us? I would feel better if you were around to advise me. Sadly, no. I'm still something of a pariah at court. I must choose my moment of re-entry with care. But allow me to leave you with a final piece of wisdom. Being human makes you different from everyone at court. I'm well aware of that. You spent this entire day showing me all the ways in which makes me feel weak and vulnerable. Yes, but what I did not have time to explain is all the ways in which your humanity makes you strong. What do you mean? A faint, enigmatic smile graces their expression. That is up for you to discover, darling. Good luck. You do your best to breathe evenly as you and Kieran enter Opulence's grand manor with Sir Montgomery. Looks very pretty. I like the colors. Gracious. You'd never know that this was a noble's home. I'm sure that's quite intentional. A throng of mortal servants approach, their uniforms impeccably matched to the decor. Welcome to Emerald Park, your highness, my lady. Shall I take your sword, Sir Montgomery? The house is well guarded. I'm sure you'd like to enjoy the party. No, thank you, my good man. I fear I shall think that I've lost it. Very well. Allow me to show you to the gardens. The footman walks you through several lavishly decorated parlors to the back lawn, which is already filled with fae nibbling on tea sandwiches served on elegant glass trays. Right then, I've delivered you safely. I'll take my leave now, your highness. You aren't staying? Oh no, your grace. I'm quite comfortable spending such events in the kitchens with Longclaw. I'm certain you can handle whatever the night may throw at you, your highness. You gulp nervously as Sir Montgomery veers off to the manor, and Kieran loops your arm in his with a small amused sound. You look terrified, Owen. Relax. Keep your head held high and remember who you are, whose you are. You lift your chin and affect an expression of noble dignity, just as the party guests take notice of your entrance. There's a flurry of whispers, and a few odd gasps as the crowd parts for you both. Did not know the prince's consort would be so alluring. You can't help but feel an incredible sense of power as each fae you pass bows and curtsies in your wake. They're staring at me. It's because how beautiful you are. I don't blame them. Opulence's manor is beautiful, even more impressive than either of the courts. How can that be? Opulence is afflicted with the Sun Court, but wields her own circle of influence beyond the Fae realm. Her wealth is not gained from the Fae alone. Supposedly, Opulence's manor boasts luxuries from all the hidden worlds, witches, merfolk, dragon kingdoms. I want to live here now. Dragons? What other magical realms are there? Growing up, I heard so many fantastical tales as bedtime stories. They can't all be true, can they? Mainly likely stem from some sort of truth. The Fae rule here, of course, but creatures with less magical ability make their home amongst us as well. Unlikely that Opulence has invited any of them tonight, but if she has, we can meet them together. A flurry of applause interrupts your conversation as your host makes her grand entrance. Okay, the top, I get, because it's a whole frolic. The bottom? What the actual hell? She looks like she came from a gardening. Thank you. Welcome, one and all, to our frolic. I'm ever so pleased to announce that tonight our humble gathering is honored with the presence of the Night Prince himself. Louder applause as ever-gleaming and glittering face turns to the two of you. His Highness conquered his own long and terrible curse and triumphed over the former Sun Prince's tyrannical reign for the good of us all. I was there too, you know. Yeah, but you're not Fae. Kieran snorts with amusement, squeezing your hand in silent reassurance. A toast to our dear Prince Kieran. With the strength of our courts united, these rabble who call themselves Eclipse surely stand no chance. To Prince Kieran. Scattered Fae raise bubbling glasses to Kieran, and you feel the sting of dozens of sly, sharp eyes taking the measure of you. But none more calculating than your illustrious host. Opulence smiles at you and sips delicately from her glass. Because she did that on purpose. You have to act better. Join the toast to Kieran. Kiss him. Let's play along. You take a pro-offered glass from the servant, toast to Kieran, who only has eyes for you. To you, my victorious prince. No, to you, my ally. Without your brilliant light, I would still be lost in the darkness. Kieran. That was a good answer, I like that. Gracefully, he takes the glass from your fingertips and tosses it back, eliciting a few appreciative sighs and cheers from those nearby. Like I said, play along. Opulence doesn't seem to have liked that very much. Kieran only shrugs, smiling mischievously. Wonderful. Now everyone please join me for a spot of tea before the main event. The party guests disperse around the table set for tea. Hovering lights illuminate the name of each guest, making it easy to locate Kieran's place of honor. And the complete lack of a place for you. Is this right? It appears you've forgotten a seat for my consort, Opulence. How embarrassing for you. Everyone else takes their seats until you and Kieran alone are left standing. Your whole body flushes hot under so many staring eyes. Oh dear. I told the servants to set places for every fae in attendance. Goodness, I see my mistake now. Well, I suppose I can make a place for her. With a few offhand flicks of her fingers, Opulence gestures for servants to bring up another chair at the far, far end of the seating area. But quite out of character for you to forget how many guests you've invited, Opulence. Kieran, darling, you've been away from society for so long, one can't be expected to keep up with all your lovers. They do seem to change so often. After all, last we saw each other, you were simply over the moon for poor Lustry. Kieran simmers with fury, but as his gaze flicks to you, you both realize you've been outplayed. For now. He can't call out Opulence publicly for supposedly simple oversight. But we can't let her get the upper hand already. I need to show everyone I won't be pushed aside. A very creative solution springs to mind. Sit on Kieran's lap for the tea service. It's smart because it outplays her once again. By improvisation, which is a human trait. And remember, Opulence currently has eyes for the Night Prince. So, you nudge Kieran down into his own chair and seat yourself elegantly atop his strong thighs. No need to put yourself out, Opulence. I'm perfectly comfortable right here. Opulence's smile freezes on her face, but she never drops the gracious host facade as she realizes you've outmaneuvered her. Ah, wonderful. Let us begin, then. The tension immediately melts from Kieran's shoulders as you wind your arms around him, nuzzling his nose against the hollow of his neck. Clever. I thought so. Your Highness, I'd love to speak with you about some matters of economics. Kieran's palm finds a home on your knee. Ticklish and distracting, Opulence clears her throat. That is, if you aren't otherwise engaged. I'm perfectly content. Go ahead. You lean into him and smile at Opulence. I'd be quite interested in hearing about that as well. You are a mortal involved in Fae affairs. I'm interested in anything that's important to my darling Kieran. Opulence's gaze flicks incredulously between you and Kieran, who calmly gazes back, daring Opulence to argue. Speaking freely, Opulence, Elle is my partner in all things. I welcome both her insight and education in these matters. We must think of the mortal sometimes, mustn't we? His smile tells you he thinks of you every moment of every day. Opulence responds with a tight, patronizing grin of her own before addressing Kieran. As you know, the recent drought in the West means our trade partners have become rather desperate. And, of course, you feel compelled to help their starving citizens. Within reason and the proper financial acknowledgement of risk, of course. While speaking to Opulence, Kieran never stops touching you attentively, stroking your shoulder, your cheek, idly lacing your fingers with yours. Even I do not have unlimited resources, Your Highness. Prices must go up to meet the new demand. Opulence does her best not to react, but the more stringent she ignores you, the more intimate Kieran's touch becomes, as if daring her to pay attention. Happily, I've recently returned from a trip to the seaside where I negotiated a new trade agreement. Our pearl import is set to triple, and at all below market price. With you taking a majority share, of course. Of course, I was the one who struck the deal, after all. You twine your arms arms around Kieran's neck and pretend to whisper in his ear. He kisses your cheek and reply, a pleased smirk on his face. How did you manage to convince the Sea Queen to agree to such a one-sided arrangement? Oh, that's the best part. She doesn't realize it quite yet. She was rather too busy squabbling with humans to read my terms thoroughly, but her mistake is my boon. That's lucky for you. Knowing your cleverness, Opulence, I assume you had a hand in instigating their troubles as well. Kieran, you do flatter me. I do have that much power, just a few select words to a certain good for you friends, and I believe in cultivating my own luck. But if you're making more money in pearl trade, why increase prices for those who are starving? You could help them without losing a cent. Opulence titters and sips her tea. I understand your confusion, but you simply lack the context. The responsibilities of my role are far more complex than having time to explain to a mortal, I'm afraid. Kieran cups your cheek and tilts your face close as if whispering sweet nothings in your ear. Our western neighbors are known for having a ferocious army, a penchant for warmongering, and a fierce sense of honor. Have you considered Opulence? We could use strong friends right now. With eclipse threatening both our courts, surely it's to everyone's advantage to have a strong, well-fed army of allies on our borders, ready and willing to come to our aid or pay their debt of gratitude should the need arise. She didn't think that far. My Ella has a refreshingly pragmatic take, does she not? Certainly, my lord, your consort is unique among mortals. Opulence recovers nimbly and moves on to more mundane topics of market trends and new sources of trade, but more than one fay at the table seems to listen now when you speak. That went surprisingly well. You relax and lounge against Kieran, who occasionally whispers context in your ear that allows you to chime in with something clever or insightful, while you take every opportunity to openly and ostentatiously affectionate at any time Opulence attempts to monopolize Kieran's attention. Oh, dearest Kieran, you'll be delighted to know I've discovered a brilliant new silkworm breeder. It charms them into such outlandish colors, such as you've never seen. Kieran strokes your jaw, tone rather bored, gazing into your eyes as if he cares not what a whit for what Opulence says. Is that right? Run a hand down his chest, caress his throat, feed Kieran a tea cake. Okay, I'll give my hats a tip to Pixelberry for so far being right about how to handle this, because, this is how you treat your significant other when someone is trying to vie for their or your attention. So this is correct. Kiss his throat. Pretending to ignore Opulence, you press your lips delicately to the underside of his jaw, then lower until you feel the vibration of his voice. Silkworms feed only on mulberry leaves, do they not? And those are only available a few months of the year. They dislike our climate. Kieran palms the nape of your neck, keeping you where you are, fingertips caressing affectionately over delicate skin. Not for these, excuse me, your highness. Opulence clears her throat delicately and takes a sip of tea. You laugh softly against the skin while he tightens his grip in response. I signed him to an exclusivity contract, of course. I now control the only source of year-round silk and without import costs. I'd love to provide you a sample of their finest bolts as a gift to celebrate your grand return, my lord. Opulence pauses, looking petulant as Kieran whispers to you. She would not offer a gift without a greater aim in mind. Now watch her try to sell to us. Kieran brings a small, tart berry to your lips, hand-feeding you without pausing his conversation. What do you think, beloved? I do so like you in silk. We could use more bed linens, I suppose. We do tend to wear them out. I wouldn't be able to chuckle. I wouldn't be able to restrain a chuckle if I was him. We accept your generous gift, Opulence. Wonderful, and if you are pleased, perhaps a more permanent deal can be arranged to provide more for the Moon Palace's need. Use Kieran's shoulder to stifle your laughter, and you feel a pleased vibration in his throat as one hand snakes high up your leg underneath the table, making you gasp aloud. Kieran, my love, you are insatiable. For you and you alone. Kieran angles your face to his and consumes you in a long, searching kiss that's rather more serious than the little private games you've been playing. Wonderful. Unable to compete with Kieran's attention, Opulence gives up and turns to engage other Fae in conversation. Kieran, your hand. He still touches you brazenly, intimately, stoking the heat to your cheeks and everywhere else he roams. What of it? I think we've successfully drawn everyone's attention. Is that what we're doing? You gasp as his fingertips wander shamelessly beneath your clothing. I'm simply enjoying your company. Enjoying me on your lap, you mean? As well as the jealousy of every Fae who wishes to touch you the way I can. Or be the center of attention that only you can give her. As the tea service ends, Opulence claps her hands twice, summoning an army of human servants who begin clearing away the furniture. Please feel free to freshen up and enjoy the gardens while we prepare for everyone's favorite part of the evening. Bow first to no one. Wait to be introduced. Be wary of gifts. What is it you're muttering to yourself? I'm trying to remember the 1001 lessons Oleander drilled into me. You're doing fine. Just follow my lead. Opulence disappears into the crowd, and you meander the grounds with Kieran, mingling with familiar but not particularly welcome faces. Prince Kieran, ever so happy to see you attend our parties again, after all the terrible business last year. Well, that's all behind us now. Yes, it certainly is, in the past. Oh, when you brought your mortal, how amusing. Good to see you again. No, remember, to be introduced, not to introduce yourself. I'm Ella. No, shit. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm Ella, consort of the Night Prince. Remember, you're supposed to be introduced. Oh, have we not? How very odd. I'm Narcissus, and this is Foxglove. And surely you remember Ella, my consort. Of course, Ella. A lovely name, Your Grace. Pleased to finally make your acquaintance properly. We were ever so surprised to see you both tonight. We'd be delighted to keep you company this evening. Or perhaps more. If you do not mind my saying, Your Grace is particularly beguiling tonight. You're too kind. Her name is very apt for her. I do hope you participate in the festivities with us, Your Grace. Kieran pulls you closer. I'm afraid I have already claimed all of Ella's attentions tonight. Ella, I must introduce you to my friend Ember. He does the most wonderful magic. Aster presents a Fae with glowing eyes who smiles and bows. Your Highness, Your Grace. With an elegant twist of his wrist, Ember conjures a miniature show of fireworks from his palm. He plucks a spark out of midair and turns it into a tiny iridescent opal. A gift for His Highness's enchanting consort. Oh, how very kind of you. But your fair company is gift enough. And it is ever at your beck and call, Your Grace. Ember bows and leaves with his friends, dropping the opal to the ground where it sizzles and fades to nothing. That was well done. Such minor tricks are all flash and no substance. Don't be taken in by them. And thus why I wasn't. At least that's one lesson I learned well. You do your best to follow Oleander's stringent protocols, and every conversation seems like a trap, each one only narrowly avoided. What's wrong? I'm starting to think Sir Montgomery and Longclaw had the right idea to stay in the kitchens with the servants. Every single fae is more graceful and witty than I am. Not really, if you're outdoing them. And I'm but a boring mortal with nothing interesting to catch their attention. You're much more interesting than you believe. Most fae know as little about the mortal world as mortals know of ours. You may have the biggest advantage over everyone here. Kieran's words echo in your mind, and a slow, wicked smile blooms across your face. That's what Oleander meant. I can lie. 2 more faces join the gauntlet of Suncord fae you've already met. Kieran introduces them as Glimmer and Glow. And you must be Kieran's adorable little consort. Everyone but Kieran chuckles. The condescension sets your teeth on edge. Oh, I'm not just his consort, I'm also his bodyguard, political advisor, betrothed. You take in their shocked faces with a certain amount of smugness. And I simply can't wait for us to be wed. Oh, Your Highness, we had no idea you truly planned to wed this mortal. I suppose this is what happens when one has no proper family left to object to a blatant disregard of tradition. To amuse yourself with a mortal for a time is one thing, but to wed one, to not even take a proper fae spouse to strengthen your court. Kieran raises his brow at you, his lips curving slightly upward. I care far more for Ella than I do tradition, and my court is certainly made stronger with her at my side. I look forward to the day I may vow before all that my heart is hers and hers alone until death parts us. Of course, as do I. You give Kieran an incredulous look and whisper in his ear while the others are momentarily distracted. You know they'll expect a wedding now. He shrugs. I was not lying. Were you? Uh-huh. Perhaps after this current danger has passed, we can revisit the subject. I know you are mine, regardless of title. You know, it's lovely to see you out in society again, Prince Kieran. Lovely. Still, this is an exquisite creature on your arm. Will the 2 of you be partaking in the evening's festivities? That is entirely up to Ella. Do you share, Your Highness? As the fae smile at you, your eyes go wide at Kieran, and you feel his arm tighten possessively around your waist. It would be a shame to keep such beauty to oneself. Is this your first fae frolic, darling? We could show you all the wonders of... Glow moves as if to take your hand, but withers at Kieran's sharp glare. The privilege of touching my consort is mine and mine alone. The fae bows one, and Kieran steers you away, keeping you close as you move through the crowd of beautiful, scantily dressed guests. Is that typical? No one will accost you without invitation, but yes. And I expect that that will not be your last offer. With how you look tonight, I can hardly keep my hands from you. As though you move through the party, the grand tales only grow more outlandish, yet Kieran finds a way to back up each and every one, all without lying himself. Prince Kieran, did you truly make a consort of your former servant, your mortal servant? I wasn't always a servant, you know. In my previous life, I lived in a palace more grand than this, was a widely renowned artist, traveled the world twice over. Remember, we're allowed to lie. Excuse me. Traveled the world twice over. Truly, you must tell us more. Yes, tell us the best places you've ever seen. I visited so many fantastic and beautiful places I couldn't possibly pick just one. Indeed, Ella has seen things most mortals never shall. As the guests begin to brag about their travel exploits, Kieran murmurs to you, including the incomparable sight of a striking fae prince in various states of undress. You elbow him until he quiets into laughter. A string of high-pitched trills is your own warning before a familiar flash of wings descends to your shoulder. Good day, Leaf. I wasn't aware you were in attendance. Kieran glances at your shoulder and sighs, long-suffering yet begrudgingly respectful. Well met, Your Majesty. Leaf sings an impatient two-note greeting to Kieran, then cocks her head at you.
This is a very grand house. Good trees, important. Make good impression, yes. This special night for you.
How did you know?
Leaf, not much. King of birds, very important, very influential.
Yes, I can see that. Are you saying you're willing to help me?
Everyone impressed by King of birds. Make whole party very jealous. King of birds much more popular than Raven Prince.
To your happy surprise, the Fae actually do greet you with more deference while Leaf rides about your shoulder. Finally, she sighs.
But that's all time I can spare. Very busy, beat again soon.
As she flies off, Kieran rolls his eyes. I can't imagine what problems could possibly trouble the bird court so thoroughly. Bug shortages, skirmishes with wild cats. Being king of all birds is very time-consuming, Kieran. Of course. I couldn't possibly understand it, being but prince of only ravens. I think that's why they have a thing between them. You let the glittering crowd of Fae move past you and onward into the gardens, glad to have a quiet moment with Kieran. Do you think I've made a strong enough impression? I would be terribly surprised if every household in the realm isn't brimming with some manner of scandalous gossip about you tomorrow. Is that good or bad? Among the Fae, it is very good. Ah, there you are, Your Highness. Thank you so much for inviting us. Your home is magnificent. Opulence's eyes dart you for you, but a split second with the bare minimum of politeness before smiling broadly back at Kieran. I must admit you look positively mesmerizing, Your Highness. I find I can hardly take my eyes from you. Kind of you to say. You see how Ella shines so brightly, though I make the attempt to be her equal. I can only hope to be but a pale imitation beside her. Happily and content to stand in her light. Kieran flatters me far too much. Impossible. Backed into a corner of courtesy by Kieran, Opulence has no choice but to regard you again, not as an equal, but perhaps a worthy rival. Your Highness does have good taste. Your consort is a lovely compliment to you. Kieran lets her double-edged words go with only a small, confident smirk as he pointedly lays your hand in the crook of his elbow. Perhaps your little pet would like to join us in the frolic. Mortals can be a rather divert novelty. Not that I need to tell you, Your Highness. With a twinkle of laughter, Opulence floats away. Kieran reads the irritation on your face with sympathy. Believe it or not, that was a compliment coming from the likes of her. I'd rather have been outright insulted, I think. At least then I could have humbled her, or you could have. Opulence rings a delicate glass bell, calling out to the party at large. Here we are now. We may start the frolic proper. It'd be really nice if Eclipse would just burst into this. I'm hoping for it. As you settle beside Kieran, seemingly identical mortal-serving girls being circulated through the party with trays of exotic and colorful fruits. Careful, the magic in this fruit is strong even for Fae. You may find it overwhelming. How so? Everything feels good after eating this, even pain. Kieran gives you a pointed look, and you gaze dubiously at the fruit in your hand, your heart starting to race. Fae fruit seems dangerous. You have nothing to fear. We can simply sit here and talk, if that is what you wish. You catch sight of Opulence, who makes a show of sliding a berry into her mouth without taking her eyes from Kieran. Let me guess, diamond choice. But if you want it, there is a way to send a clear message of who belongs to whom. Kieran brings your hand to his lips, taking a bite of the fruit straight from your fingertips, then leans in to kiss you. Oh. The bright, impossible sweetness on his lips sends a rush of glittering sensation lighting up your entire body in a way you've never experienced, alert and alive and wanting. As Kieran pulls away with a smile full of promise, the effects already begin to dissipate, leaving you hungry for more. None of this is required of you. Ella, if you simply wish to sit here and relax, I would be delighted to do so. If you wish to experience the pleasures on offer, I could find us a private venue. Or if you're feeling very brave, I could take you right here. That's what I thought. We'll go for as long as we can because of YouTube, remember that. You take a decisive bite of the fruit, its magic working instantly. Awakening every nerve in your body, Kieran makes a low, pleased sound in his throat. It's why we're here, after all. I wouldn't want to pass up this opportunity. Kieran punctuates the end of your sentence with a sudden, overwhelming kiss, the magic sweetness mingling with a magnifying between you and every sense soaring. I had no qualms about seducing you publicly, but if you prefer privacy, simply say the word. I want to stay here. You get to show everyone what they can't have. Tee-hee. Kieran takes your face in both hands and kisses you again, open, sensual, slow, until you're heated through and breathless. My daring Ella. Is it truly alright for us to do this here? See for yourself, beloved. Kieran turns her head, soft moans and giggles fill the warm air as these strange identical serving girls weave in and out.
More fruit, Ambassador. I'll have the furs brought out this instant, sir.
Oh my god, okay, triplets I guess?
Use the rose-hip tea as you see fit, my lady. I'll have more for you in a moment.
All around you they are shamelessly indulging in each other, flashes of beautiful bared skin. I suppose I am here to acclimate to Fey customs. Kieran's smirk is positively dangerous, combined with the tantalizing magic thrumming through you. Everything feels both possible and enticing. I shall give you the choice, dear Ella. You may face me or her. Your heart races with feverish nerve, the want growing stronger with every breath. Opulence smiles lazily over at you as another Fae drags his lips down her throat. The silver sign of Kieran's love awakens beneath your clothing, tugging you to him like a desperate magnet, every place where the metal touches skin scalding with desire. Kieran, yes. I want to see only you. Opulence to watch, but he said for you to watch her, so I'm a little confused with this. I'll go with to only see you. Fervent intensity glitters in Kieran's eyes as hands slide between your thighs, spreading them wide open. You shoot a nervous glance over your shoulder, and Kieran brings your face back to his with one strong fingertip. Do not look at them, look at me. They may dream of you, ache for you. They may even be lucky enough to watch you. But you are mine and no one else's. You nod breathlessly and loop your arms around his neck. Heated desire pulses through you, higher and stronger, awash in the magic's grip. Forget everyone else. Focus on me, and all the wicked things I'm going to do to you. Your clothes jump open at his touch, and you shudder at the increased intensity of his skin against yours, bared in the open. You're certainly wasting no time. In reply, his fingers press against you, the sudden pleasure so overwhelming that you cry out, trying to pull him closer and deeper. The moon charm slides against your skin like tantalizing ice. The silver chain pulses with every movement. This is like nothing I've ever... Your self-control is quickly shredded to tatters, but Kieran somehow maintains a semblance of will despite being as breathless and flushed as you are. I can't think, I just need... What do you need? Molten pleasure arcs through you until you feel dangerously out of control, lost adrift on a cresting wave in a wild storm. I want you to hold my throat. A rumble of quiet laughter in his chest mocks and thrills you all at once. Manners, beloved. Frustrated, you gasp and writhe, needing to feel contained in a wild abandon that's quickly taking over. Please. Instantly, his palm lays curled against your throat, anchoring you intimately, possessively. Good. Your pulse hammers against his, and you feel caught, pinned by his immense strength, which only serves to take every sense to further heights. You're distantly aware of the snatches of gasps and appreciative murmurs around you, but it's only to a chorus to your own racing pleasure. No need to hold back, let it take you. You shield none of your actions, you couldn't even if you wanted to. We are treading dangerously close. You whimper, helpless against the maddening rhythm of his touch, magnified and electrified by the magic thrumming in your blood. I know. Give me a little more, Ella, you're doing so well. There's an urgency in the way you move your hips against him, heated from within and desperately need a release that's just out of reach. More, please. More of what, my darling? Pain. I want to know how it feels. As my lady commands. Breathing is ragged, the only sign he is affected by this as you are. Without slowing the driving pace between your it was short-lived, let's just put it that way. You're weak and dazed, the magic still sizzling with bliss in every vein as you collapse against him. Only slowly does the world come back into focus. I love you. And I you, my Ella. The wanton sounds of the frolic have grown louder. You're surrounded by a teeming, writhing mass of revelry. You realize you can taste opulence's desire and rage, smell aster and foxglove and ember's joy on the air. My love, the effects will remain for some time. I'll let you catch your breath for now. Thank you, Kieran. Thank you, Ella. As the buzz and simmer of the magic slows, you feel your clothes once again cling to your skin. You slowly realize that a strange sense of dread has overcome you, though you're certain it's only a small echo of the strange fruit you consumed. Is something the matter, Ella? His clothing appeared out of nowhere as well. The buzzing tingle of the fey fruit still lingers as you start to walk towards the house. No, nothing. It's wonderful. I'll be right back. Kieran hesitates, checking you with a hint of concern, but he nods, and you head off inside alone to cool off. You find a washroom just off the grand hall. Gratefully, you splash some cold water on your heated face and take a few deep breaths. This night has been truly something else indeed. But if nothing else, I think I've made a strong impression. As you turn to head back to Kieran, an odd noise at the front of the house makes you pause. You take a few curious steps towards the vestibule. Suddenly, both doors fly off their hinges with a thunderous boom, nearly missing you as they thunder past. As you stumble, Jack storms his way into the house, sword in hand with eclipse soldiers at his back. Perfect. The prince's pet mortal. Jack, I wish everyone would stop calling me that. It's bad enough when the Fae do it. You're a brave one, little mortal, but a shame that you need to die with your prince. One of Jack's minions lashes out at you with a whip of silver vines that snap around your torso and drag you off your feet. Kieran! You shriek and struggle against the vines, terror racing in your veins. Kieran surges into the room, furious shadows crackling up the walls, darkening the room in his wake. A wicked blade of pure darkness forms itself in his hands. You. Let's see if you're fast enough to save your pet, Raven Prince. But as Jack moves towards you, sword raised, magic hums through the threads of your clothing, and the silver vines puff into smoke. Kieran wraps you in his fierce but soothing embrace. What is... Oleander must have put a protective charm on the garments. Remind me to thank him for their foresight. Perhaps they do care? I would hope, because everything that's good that happens to Kieran is also something that happens to Oleander as well, when you think about it. Are you alright, Ella? You see the trap too late. Focus only on you, Kieran does not notice Jack behind him until the iron blade slashes deep into his back. Kieran! Kieran howls in rage and pain as he collapses in your arms. Coating the marble floor in blood, suddenly you hear a dazed yawn and then a gasp at the end of the room. Is this part of the party? No, you fool! They're here to kill us all! Aster, we're under attack. It's Eclipse, they're back. She racks with slow surprise, eyes unfocused and cheeks flushed. The humans, but they weren't invited. Oh, Lord. Here they come. More Fae pour in from the gardens, faces flushed, inebriated, half-dressed, and in no state to defend against Eclipse with any real strength. What's all the noise? Oh. Taste fire, half-breeds. Droplets of flame explode from Ember's hands, nearly missing a panicked Aster as it streaks towards two of Jax's fighters. Watch out! Thank God for Ember. I've got it. The human throws up a thin band of iron, suddenly springs open in a broad shield, deflecting Ember's fire spell effortlessly, each spark fizzling in the smoke. Everyone just stay calm. Remember how we fought them off before. Even as the words leave your lips, you know it's futile. Eclipse has come in greater force, with better armaments, and the Fae are in no condition to fight at all. I did warn you. You swallow back horror as Jack advances on you. Kieran struggles to his feet, eyes wild with rage to stand between you and smirking rebel. Kieran, please, you aren't invulnerable anymore. I don't care. That bastard hurt you. Kieran's fury takes physical form as the beast inside takes over. No longer fully mindless, but not fully under his control either. Kieran launches at Jack, slashing from the air with its massive claws. Shifting won't save you, monster. You can only watch, powerless, as Jack nimbly dodges to the side. The wounded Kieran stumbles and skids across the polished floor. No. Jack lands a staggering blow that sends Kieran reeling across the room and into the wall. Bits of plaster and stone shower upon him as he flops bonelessly to the ground. Kieran's beast recedes, revealing him bloodied and barely conscious. You run to him, whirling to stare down Jack as Eclipse fighters wreak havoc all around you. Please, please don't hurt him. He isn't the monster you think he is. I've seen how monstrous Fae can be, but Kieran is not like the rest. There are good Fae, just as there are evil mortals. You would define good as kind to you, while your countrymen starve, cower. Are you bewitched or just hopelessly naive? Cries of pain and fear fill your ears, but there's no hint of mercy in Jack's eyes. These cruel creatures are not your friends. They will never give up their power, so we must take it. He raises the sword, and one last desperate act, you throw yourself over Kieran. Then a deep roaring shout rises above the din. Please tell me it's Sir Montgomery. Jack, I challenge thee to a duel of honor. The room quiets as Jack turns slowly to face his challenger. Away with you, old man. Your allegiance has been gravely misplaced. Jack, look what you've done. What would your father think of the man you've become? What? Jack's head whips back around, face contorting in rage. And, you think, recognition. You. What would you know? These courts betrayed my father and left him to rot. It's their time, their power, their immortality went to someone who deserves it. Jack turns his back to you to square with Sir Montgomery, hand tightening on the hilt of his sword. I accept your challenge, old man. The two circle each other warily as Jack's fighters hold back the crowd of battered Fae with a ring of iron. Longclaw pushes her way to your side, which we haven't seen until now, your captors begrudgingly letting her pass when she doesn't make a move towards the combatants.
Ella, we cannot let him do this.
I don't think we have a choice. Sir Monty knows something we don't. He speaks as if he knows Jack.
But how could that be?
You still have time to right these wrongs, my boy. I have no desire to kill you, but nor will I allow you to harm my prince. Jaff scoffs, lifting his blade overhead, bringing it down on Sir Montgomery with a brutal power and a clash of metallic sparks. That's yet another point on which we differ, traitor. Sir Montgomery bellows with effort, but he repels Jack's sword and thrusts back with his own. Jack scowls, dodges, and narrowly avoiding the strikes. Those that wronged you are not in this room, Jack. This is not justice. What would you know of justice? Justice is what brought me here. Your precious prince is no better than all the rest, and he will fall to my sword just like the same. Jack howls with pain as Sir Montgomery's jab takes him by surprise, glancing off his ribs and leaving a bloody gash in its wake. Things are not as they once were. There's a chance for peace, Jack. Do not let your rage turn you into something you are not. Despite the terror freezing your veins, you're overcome with awe at Sir Montgomery's grace, his boldness, centuries of dedication written in each perfect movement. Incredible. But even his immaculate skill cannot undo what time has wrought. Too soon, Sir Montgomery's strength begins to waver, his limbs to shake.
Oh, please. Please don't.
In a series of brutal, rapid strikes, Jack backs an exhausted Monty into a corner and disarms the loyal knight. And ruthlessly runs him through. No! Well, we'll see if this is his parting end. But without further ado, thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down the description, plenty of things to check out there, ways to support the channel and this community, and ways to become more of an intricate part of it. With that being said, yeah, thank you all once again for watching. I really enjoyed the scenes. I mean, we were able to push the boundaries of, YouTube and everything else like that. It was a little bit more actual classy, and things that I actually did like, as I gave praise to that while we were reading it. Especially when it came to opulence and how things of snideness and things like that are handled. I did actually like that. Especially when you're dealing with a higher echelon and higher society, you do have to be more cunning, you do have to be smarter, you do have to outwit them. And also, yes, you did discover a human thing about you, that you did have the ability to lie, or at least stretch the truth, or at least make it a half lie, half truth, that Fae are not able to do, because remember, Fae can't lie. And then everything else was pretty cool. Also, Fae magical clothing. Again, Pixelberry at least used to give us some plot reason to buy the armor, right? Or some plot hole for why we were going to pay for it. And today's little diamond choice just had no purpose whatsoever. And I'm seeing that become more of a trend there as well. While I enjoyed everything else in this video, in this chapter, I just point things out like that because, yeah. I did like the flattery, though, of Kieran and how he was, again, it doesn't matter. You could be in a room full of the most physically attracting, women, for me as a guy. And if I am with someone, I'm going to treat you like they are 1 out of 10s. Because you are the person that, 1, I go home with at night, right? 2, you are my love, you are my light, you are mine, and I am yours. And that is how every relationship should be. That's how every relationship I've ever been in I'm a person that's kind of like Kieran in a lot of ways, where I am slow to warm, but once I am warmed to you, and we're in that position, yeah, no. I will fight for you, I will die for you, anything. And I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not just how guys should be, it's how women should be for your significant other as well. You are supposed to be that way. That's how relationships are supposed to be. Again, I'm a hopeless romantic, and I'm a person that, um, I guess you could say is wise beyond my years, but also a person that just that's how I've brought myself up. I've learned to take the good things that I see and that people want and yada 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 and incorporate those in myself. And those are also the same things that I expect from my significant other as well. Um, you only have eyes for me and I only have eyes for you. It doesn't matter. You could offer me the wildest of women, the most beautiful of women versus who I'm with. And while everyone else could rate her a 5 out of 10, a 6 out of 10, whatever, to me, if I'm in a relationship with you, you are beautiful. Because it's beyond physicality too for people like me. I know I'm not the only one, but yeah, and that's how a relationship should be. Right? That is literally and figuratively how it should be. And so this was wrote really well in that, and so that is something that actually did. You scored a gold star with me for that. So yeah, no, that was well written, and that's why I had to give them praise. I do give Pixelberry praise time to time. So yeah, the writers did actually really good about that because there are people who are like that, and then I also know that some of you want that, and you cannot find a person that's like that. And yes, no, I don't know. Dating in this current year and time is kind of, and I haven't dated in quite some time because dating has just kind of sucked. I'm gonna be honest. But anyway, you're not here for that. So once again, thank you for staying. Always to those of you who listen at the end to my messages and whatnot. And once again, thanks for watching. Catch you all later. Peace out.